There are lots of things all around us, exciting things that surround us.
But how does it work?
Do you know?
How is it made?
Do you know? Things that go up, things that go down, things that go hop, things that go round, with special cameras to show you inside. It's going to be a big surprise.
But how does it work?
Do you know?
How is it made?
Do you know? Do you know?
Let's find out!
Hello, I'm Maddie, and today I'm visiting a hospital. Have you ever been to a hospital? They're very special places because inside there are lots of doctors and nurses who help people get better if they're poorly or hurt. Sometimes doctors use special machines to help people, and there's one machine you might have seen before. Let's go inside and have a look. We're in a consulting room where you see a doctor, and this is the machine. It's called a blood pressure monitor. Your heart pumps blood all around your body, to your head, to your fingers and toes. And doctors and nurses use blood pressure monitors to check that your blood is flowing nicely through your body. It's called checking your blood pressure. But do you know how a blood pressure monitor works? Let's find out. How does it work?
A blood pressure monitor.
This is Amanda, and she's going to check my blood pressure. Blood pressure shows how easily blood passes through your blood vessels. And to measure it, she's going to use the blood pressure monitor. The first thing that Amanda is doing, she's putting this bit, it's called the cuff, around the top of my arm. Now Amanda is pressing a button which makes air travel from the machine through this tube and into the cuff. The cuff is blowing up. It's a little bit like blowing up armbands when you go to the swimming pool. Did you hear that sound? That buzzing sound was the machine working and inflating the cuff. I can feel the cuff getting tighter and tighter. It's a bit like having your arms squeezed, but it doesn't hurt. When it's ready, we'll hear a little beep, and that will tell Amanda it's ready so she can check my blood pressure. And that was the beeping sound. If you look at the monitor, you can see there are 2 numbers, and those numbers will tell Amanda if my blood pressure is okay. Amanda, how's my blood pressure?
It's fine today, Maddie.
Thank you. So my blood pressure is nice and healthy. But how does the cuff tightening around my arm tell the machine and Amanda that my blood pressure is okay? Well, to find out, we need to see what's going on inside my body when my blood pressure is being taken. Your heart pumps blood all around your body. With each heartbeat, it pumps blood through lots of little tubes called blood vessels. Having good blood pressure means your blood is flowing nice and easily around your body. It's not going too fast or too slow. When your blood pressure is checked, the cuff on the monitor fills with air and it gets bigger and bigger. The bigger it grows, the tighter it gets on your arm. This squeezes the blood vessels so the machine can measure how easily the blood is travelling through. The doctor can tell what your blood pressure is by the numbers shown on the machine. If you've ever had your blood pressure taken, then you know it feels a bit funny when it tightens around your arm, but it doesn't hurt. But do you know what blood vessels look like? Well, I don't have a special camera with me today. Instead, I have a very special light, and it shows you what's happening under your skin. But first, we need to dim the lights and turn it on. Wow, that's amazing. It looks like there are lots of branches of trees inside my arms, or the veins that you see on a leaf. but what you're actually seeing are my blood vessels. This special light uses a laser to show you your blood vessels under your skin. And there are so many in my arm. Look at my hand. My hand is full of blood vessels. I can follow these blood vessels and veins from my hand all the way up my arm, even to my elbow. Can you see those dark patches? That's the blood flowing freely around my body. That is incredible. How amazing to be able to see under your skin using a special light. I loved being able to see under my skin and learning how a blood pressure monitor works. What was your favourite bit? Do you remember what you call the part of the blood pressure monitor which goes around your arm? That's right, it's called the cuff. Did you hear the sound the monitor made when the cuff was blowing up with air like a balloon? And did you see the blood vessels in my arm when I used my special light? Wow, that's amazing. It looks like there are lots of branches of trees inside my arms, or the veins that you see on a leaf. So if you ever need to have your blood pressure checked or see someone having theirs taken, you'll know how the monitor works and what your veins look like inside your body. There are lots of reasons why people might come to a hospital, and one of them is if they break a bone. I broke my arm when I was younger. Have you ever broken an arm, or a leg, or a finger? Whatever you break, there are special doctors and nurses in hospitals who help fix broken bones. And there's something they use to put on a broken bone to help fix it. Can you guess what it is? That's right, it's a cast. This is a cast for an arm. But do you know how it's made? Let's find out. How is it made?
A cast.
When a bone is broken, a special photograph is taken called an X-ray, and it shows the doctor what the bone looks like inside a body. An X-ray looks like this. This is an X-ray of an arm, and can you see that the bone here is broken? To fix it, the bone needs to be held still for a few weeks so it can be made straight again. And here, after it's been put in a cast, you can see that the bone is now straight and it's healed. But I want to see how a cast is made, so I've come here. This is the plaster room, where plaster is put on broken bones to help them get better. You can get different types of cast. A plaster cast, which is made from bandages covered in a special type of clay, or fiberglass, which is a special bandage made from woven glass strands. This is Sean, and he's going to be putting a fiberglass cast on my arm. Now, I haven't broken my arm, but we've been given special permission for Sean to put a cast on me, so we can show you how it's made. First, Sean is putting a nice soft layer around my arm, and it looks like a big long sock. There's even a little sock for my thumb. Next, Sean is wrapping my arm in padding. This will make the bandage really comfortable. It's lovely and soft. Now it's time for the bandage, and there are lots of different colours you can choose from. I've gone with blue. First, Sean has dipped the bandage in water, and that's made it easy to work with. And it's sticky, so it sticks to itself as it's being wrapped around my arm. It does feel really warm. It's a lovely, cosy, snuggly feeling. And the bandage sets really quickly. That means it goes hard, and that's what will protect my bone and help it to get better. Oh, that's such a strange feeling. Sean smooths the cast out and then he's finished. My arm feels really protected and safe. I love the colour too. You can have all sorts of colours. Red, green, how about pink? What's your favourite colour? I think I'll stick with blue. Now the bandage is on my arm, we need to wait for it to dry and set so it goes hard. Let's use my special camera to take a closer look. This is a microscope and it lets us see really small things in close detail. Wow! Look at the bandage. Can you see all the fiberglass strands looping through the material of the bandage? That is amazing. It looks like blue rope covered in glue, doesn't it? What do you think it looks like? This is going to set, it will become really hard and this will protect my arm. That is brilliant. Time to see if my cast is set. Listen to the sound it makes when I tap it. It sounds like knocking on a door. Now the cast is dry and hard, so if there was a broken bone inside here, my arm would be kept still and safe, so it could heal and get better. But now it's dry, there's something really fun we can do to it. We can draw on it with sparkles. There we go, a sparkly heart. You could have all sorts of pictures on a cast. What picture would you like to draw? Now, usually it takes a couple of weeks for a broken bone to get better, but luckily I don't have a broken arm, so Sean's going to take the cast off for me. Well, my cast is off and my arm is back to normal. What was your favourite bit about seeing how a cast was made? Do you remember what colour my cast was? That's right, it was blue, but you can get all sorts of colours. Which colour would you choose? Did you hear the sound the cast made when I tapped it? It sounded like knocking on a door. And did you see what the fiberglass cast looked like when I filmed it with my special camera? It looks like blue rope covered in glue, doesn't it? That is brilliant. So the next time you see someone with a fiberglass cast, or you have one yourself, you'll know just how they're made. And now you know how a blood pressure monitor works and how it helps the doctors and nurses check that the blood is flowing nicely around your body. I'll see you next time.
Hello, I'm Maddie, and today I've come to a very busy, very noisy place. Can you guess where I am? I'm at an airport. Have you ever been to an airport? There are lots of aeroplanes with people inside who might be going on holiday or to visit friends and family all over the world. Should we give them a wave? Hello! Aeroplanes take off on a big long runway, like that one over there. It gets faster and faster, and then it takes off high into the sky. But how does an aeroplane take off and land? How does it work? Let's find out.
How does it work?
Aeroplane!
Today I've got special permission to visit an aeroplane hangar and look inside a plane.
It's a bit like a car park for aeroplanes. And that one is absolutely huge. The area where the passengers sit is called the cabin, and the place where the pilots sit is over there. Come on, let's go take a look. Wow! This is the cockpit, and all of these buttons, dials and lights, they're the instruments that help the pilot to fly the plane. There are so many of them, aren't there? This is so exciting. I'm sat in the captain's seat. These levers here are called the thrust levers, and they make the plane go faster or slower. And this here is called the side stick. This turns the plane left or right, up or down. And if the pilot needs to move the plane when it's on the ground or stop it, they'll use these foot pedals down here. It all looks really complicated, doesn't it? To find out how an aeroplane takes off and lands, I think we need a closer look.
When the aeroplane is ready to take off, the pilot pushes the thrust levers forward, making the engines speed up. The aeroplane travels faster and faster along the runway. The wings have a special curved shape called an aerofoil. The air that flows over the top of the wing moves faster than the air which moves underneath the wing. And this creates a force called lift. The lift helps the aeroplane up and off the ground. To land the aeroplane, the pilot pushes the side stick forward, which tilts the elevator on the back of the aeroplane down. This makes the nose of the plane point downwards. The pilot moves the thrust levers back. This slows down the engines. Flaps on the wings are then flicked up to slow down the air that's flowing over the wings. The wheels are put into position, and when the plane lands on the runway, the pilot presses the brakes and the plane comes to a stop.
This is where pilots come to practice flying aeroplanes. But can you see any aeroplanes? Pilots learn to fly in these pods called flight simulators.
They look just like the cockpits on real planes, but these ones are just for practice.
Now this is the really fun part. I get to join Bridget, a pilot, and watch her practice a takeoff and landing.
The windows are actually video screens to show us what flying the plane would look like in real life.
Okay, Bridget, we're ready for takeoff. The first thing Bridget does is push the thrust levers forward, and that powers the engines, which make the plane move forward and get faster and faster. Here we go. You can hear the engines. We're getting faster and faster, and when the time is right, Bridget pulls back on the side stick, and that lifts the nose of the plane into the air. And here we go. We're taking off into the air. It feels like we're actually flying. I'm wearing my special head camera so you can see what the pilot sees when they're landing a plane. Wow, we are so high up. When the plane is in the sky, Bridget uses the side stick to turn the plane to the left or to the right, up or down. But right now, we're getting ready to land. Here we go. Bridget gently pushes the side stick forward to make the elevator at the back of the plane tilt down, which makes the nose of the plane dip down. The houses on the ground are getting bigger and bigger, which means the plane is getting lower and lower to the ground. Ooh, we're getting closer. Now, Bridget is pulling the thrust lever backwards, and that will slow the power to the engines, which slows the plane down. And then Bridget uses the foot pedals that will brake and slow down the plane on the ground. And we've landed. That was brilliant. I loved seeing how an aeroplane takes off and lands. What was your favourite bit about finding out how an aeroplane works?
Do you remember what the lever was called that steers the aeroplane? That's right, it's called a side stick. Did you hear the sound in the simulator when the engine started to speed up? And did Do you see all those buttons and levers in the aeroplane cockpit?
Aeroplanes are really good at moving us between places that are far apart. But when we only need to go short distances, we can walk, or sometimes we might run. Do you know what we have to wear when we go on a walk or a run outdoors? That's right, we need to wear something on our feet, like a pair of trainers. I love wearing trainers because they're comfortable to wear and they come in lots of bright colours. But do you know how trainers are made? Let's find out.
How is it made?
Trainers.
Trainers are made in a place like this, a trainer factory. Trainers can be made from lots of different materials, like this shiny cloth called nylon, and this rougher material that's made out of cotton called canvas. And trainers come in lots of different colours. What colour trainers shall we make today? I like orange and red. First, the material is taken to the cutter press, where it can be cut to the right shapes. So Jen uses these cutters. They work just like cookie cutters. They're laid down in the correct spot and then pushed down by the head press to cut the shapes we need. Look how many shapes there are. It doesn't look much like a pair of trainers, does it? I think this looks more like a beard, and this looks like a moustache. But that's because they all need to be sewn together. Linda uses a sewing machine to sew together the parts of the shoe that make the shoe upper. That's the bit that goes over the top of your foot. Linda's using this blue machine called an eyeliner. It makes holes in the shoe uppers for the laces. Works just like a hole punch, only it's much quicker. Oh, it's noisy, isn't it? Look, here are the holes for the laces. So next, the laces are threaded through the holes so they'll fit nice and tight. I'm going to have a practice at tying these laces. You want to practice with me. First of all, you make a knot, and then you use one lace to make a loop, take the other and loop it round, tuck it through the hole and pull. Like that. Now it's time to give the trainers their correct shape. First, they're put into a machine called the back part moulder. Can you guess what part of the trainer it shapes? That's right, it's the back part of the trainer where your heel goes. Next, they're put onto wooden moulds called lasts. They look just like real feet and will give the trainers the correct shape. Stefan fits the trainers onto the lasts, then puts them through 3 machines. One to shape the toe end, the next to shape the sides. And finally through the seat and side blaster, which stretches and attaches the material onto the inner sole underneath. That was amazing! But it was quite tricky to see from here, so I'm going to use my special camera on a long pole so we can see what it looks like from above. What an incredible machine. It looks like a robot insect with its pincers and claws folding the shoe together. All the rough bits of the shoe are then sanded off to make it nice and smooth. The underneath of the trainer is coated in a strong glue, which is then put through a heater to make it even stickier.
The trainers are nearly ready, but to make sure they're comfortable to walk and run in, we have to stick the soles on.
The soles are then pressed into place in this machine.
And there we have a finished pair of bright, colourful trainers. All that's left to do is try them on.
They fit perfectly.
It was really fun seeing how trainers were made. What was your favourite part?
Do you remember the name of the wooden moulds that help to shape the trainers? That's right, they're called lasts. Did you hear the sound that Eiletta made to make the lace holes?
Noisy, isn't it?
Did you see all the different shapes that were cut out by the cutter press?
So, the next time you put on a pair of trainers, you'll know how they're made. And when you see an aeroplane in the sky, you'll know how it takes off and how it's going to land again. Right, I think it's time to get running in these trainers. See you next time. Hello, I'm Maddie, and today I'm going to meet my friend Zara. Look, there she is, playing with her friends. Can you hear? Zara and her friends are listening to each other so that they can pass the ball and play the game. Zara wears a hearing aid. It helps her to hear more clearly so that she can join in with games like playing football. Zara, your hearing aids are so clever. What do you like most about them?
I like about them that they help you to hear.
So without them, can you hear anything?
No, sometimes I can, sometimes I can't.
So they help you to hear better?
Yeah.
Bye! The hearing aids are really small and they fit inside a person's ear. And they're important as they help the person who wears them.
Go!
But do you know how a hearing aid works? Let's find out. How does it work?
Hearing aid.
And to find out how a hearing aid works, I've come to a children's hospital. This is a special department in the hospital called the audiology department. And the people who work here are called audiologists. Audio is just another word for sound. And we measure sounds using frequency. To show you how different frequencies sound, I've got my whistle. That's a high-pitched noise, so we say that it has a high frequency. And some people find it difficult to hear those sounds. But then for something like thunder, thunder is a low-pitched sound, and that has a low frequency. Some people find it difficult to hear those sounds. Caroline is an audiologist here at the hospital. She tests people's hearing and helps them by fitting hearing aids if they need them. Hi, Caroline. To show you what happens when we have a hearing test, Caroline is going to test my hearing. Okay. Yeah. Here goes. Caroline is playing sounds through the headphones using her computer. Each time I hear a sound, I put a figure into the boat. Caroline plays both high and low frequencies to find out how well I can hear. And when the test is finished, Caroline checks the results on her computer. There you go, all finished. Caroline, how did I do?
You did very well. You've got really good hearing.
Great! For people that do need help with their hearing, Caroline uses the information from the test to program their hearing aid. But how do hearing aids work? I think we need to take a closer look. When a noise is made, a small microphone on top of the hearing aid picks up the sound. A wire carries the sound to a tiny part called the processor, which is programmed to understand different frequencies of sound. The sounds are sent by another wire to an amplifier, which makes the sounds louder. Then it passes into a tube into the earpiece, which is like a tiny loudspeaker. The amplified sounds move down the ear canal to a piece of skin called the eardrum, which vibrates and sends signals into the cochlea. Inside the cochlea, hairs pick up different frequencies of sounds and send a signal through a nerve up to the brain, which helps us turn all the vibrations into sounds that we understand.
Isn't the way a hearing aid works really clever? And look, I've got a hearing aid right here, but all the parts are so small it's quite tricky to see, so I think we should use one of my special cameras. And this is a microscope camera, and it lets us see small things much, much bigger. So let's see if we can find some of the parts. Ooh! Can you see all of those green bits hiding underneath the plastic coating? Well, that is the processor. The tiny computer that knows which frequencies the person who wears this finds it difficult to hear. Can you see that round dot in the middle? That is the microphone. It's absolutely tiny, and it's in the top part of the hearing aid. How brilliant is that?
Everyone's ears are a different shape, so how do hearing aids stay inside the ear without falling out?
Caroline is mixing a gloopy material called putty, and she'll use the putty to make an impression of my ear. But you must never put anything inside your ears. Caroline is specially trained, so she knows how to do this safely.
And when the putty is set, Caroline takes it out.
There you go. Thank you.
Isn't it funny looking? And this can be made to make an earpiece that fits me perfectly. The impression has to be sent away to be turned into the final ear mould, and here it is, connected to the hearing aid. I loved finding out how hearing aids work. What was your favourite bit?
Do you remember the name of the green unit inside the hearing aid? That's right, it's the processor. Did you hear the sounds that Caroline played into the headphones during the hearing test? And did you see the funny shape of the blue mould when it came out of my ear?
So the next time you see someone with a hearing aid, you'll know how it works to help them hear sounds like my whistle more clearly. Whistles are really useful. They're great for attracting attention when you're playing sport, or perhaps if you need some help. I love the little ball that rattles around inside. But how does the ball get in the whistle, and how does it help to make the sound? Do you know how a whistle's made? Let's find out.
How is it made?
Whistle.
To find out how whistles are made, I've come to a whistle factory. These great big coils are made of a material called brass, which is a mixture of two metals, copper and zinc. And the brass coils are going to be made into lots and lots of whistles.
The first job is done by the power press. It cuts and bends the flat copper into the right shapes. Can you see the press coming down onto the metal?
Here we are. This is just one of the shapes we need, and it's going to be the size of the whistle.
Look how the press has cut out the shape and folded the sides.
But we need two more. The body and the knob. Once we have all of our shapes, they're brought to the assembly department, where Arlene puts them together by hand.
Arlene uses a little hammer to join the sides and the body of the whistle together.
It really looks like a whistle now, doesn't it?
Arlene then wraps wire around the whistle to attach the knob and hold it all together before soldering.
Our whistle is soldered in a very special way.
Soldering is when a metal is melted to join two other pieces of metal together. The soldering machine here heats up the metal using ultrasonic waves that we can't see.
As the whistles go around the turntable, they get hit with these ultrasonic waves again and again and again, and that heats the metal up to melt at the solder. How amazing is that?
When the whistle has cooled down, the solder hardens and the wire can be taken off.
Now all these whistles need a good polish.
Things are about to get very noisy.
This is a vibro polishing machine, and it polishes 1,000 whistles at a time.
Well, that was exciting, but it all happened so quickly. I think we should see it again with one of my special cameras. This is my special slow motion camera. It means that we can film something that happens really quickly, but when we watch it back, it will look much slower. I'm all set up, ready to go. Take it away, Jake.
Can you see the green cones in the machine? They are hard bits of polish that rub against the brass whistles, making them shiny as they jiggle around. It's like they're having a dance. Look how sparkly they are.
These look great, don't they? But they still need a special coating to protect them from scratches and bumps. So they're going for a dip. It's like a green bubble bath for whistles. Inside this bubbly liquid is a metal called nickel. And when electricity is passed through the liquid, the nickel is attracted to the brass in the same way a magnet is attracted to another magnet. This is called electroplating.
Half an hour later, the whistles are coated and ready to be taken out and dried.
It looks beautiful and shiny, doesn't it? But what does it sound like? It doesn't sound quite right, does it? And that's because there's an important part missing. Do you know what it is? That's right, it's the little ball that goes inside. Here they are. The balls are made from a type of wood called cork. But the cork balls are much bigger than the slot in the whistle. So how does it get inside?
To get the hard pieces of cork in the slot, we need to make them soft enough to squash through. So they are heated up in a steamer.
Once the cork balls are soft and squashy enough, Colin can pop them into the whistles easily. Thank you. Once the cork cools down again, it goes hard, so the ball stays in the whistle without falling out.
But how do they know every whistle works perfectly?
Can you guess what this is? It's an electric blower that lets us test the whistles one by one. So, to make sure everything's okay, ear defenders on, let's see what they sound like. Sounds good to me! I loved finding out how whistles are made. What was your favourite part?
Do you remember the name of the two metals that make brass? That's right, copper and zinc. Did you hear the sound of the little hammer when Arlene put the parts together? And did you see how the cork balls were steamed so they were squashy enough to fit into the whistles? So the next time you blow a whistle, you'll know how it was made. And if you see someone with a hearing aid like my friend Zara, then you'll know how it works.
Right, over here, Zara! We will see you next time. Bye!
Hello, I'm Maddie, and today I'm out with my binoculars. Binoculars help you to see things that are really far away, close up. Can you guess what I'm trying to see with my binoculars today? Did you guess? I'm bird spotting. Look, there's a bird flying in the sky.
It's a gull. And there's one perched in the tree. It's a blue tit.
But today, I'm looking for a bird's nest. A bird builds its nest so it has a safe place to lay its eggs and look after its chicks. But do you know how a bird makes its nest? How does a bird's nest work? Let's find out.
How does it work?
Bird's nest.
To find out how a bird's nest works, I've come to a nature reserve. They have lots of different types of birds here. Can you hear them? Some birds build their nests high up in trees, and others hide their nests in branches and bushes.
This is so the birds can keep their eggs safe from other animals and the weather.
Like the rain
And the wind.
But to find out how a bird's nest works, I think we should get a closer look at one. This is Jack, and Jack is an expert in birds' nests. Now, you shouldn't touch, move, or go too close to a bird's nest, but I've got special permission to show you this one so we can find out how it was made.
And today, we're looking at a robin's nest.
Can you see it's got a dip in the middle, but the sides are nice and high? It's called a cup nest.
This keeps the robin's eggs nice and safe when they're laid. To get a closer look, let's use one of my special cameras.
This is a microscope camera, and it will let us see what the nest is built of really close up. So let's take a look.
There's a twig. That green stuff is moss.
And what about this? It looks beautiful, but it's just a dry leaf. But to find out how a bird builds its nest, we need to take a closer look.
When a robin builds its nest, it collects lots of dried grass, twigs, moss, and leaves. It makes lots and lots of trips. The bird builds the structure of the nest by weaving all the things it's collected together. The bird collects wet mud from ponds and puddles, which binds and sticks everything together like glue. Then the bird uses its tummy to press on the inside of the nest and make a dip. When the nest is ready, the bird will lay its eggs. And the eggs hatch 2 weeks later. The chicks live in the nest for another 2 weeks before they're ready to fly away.
Birds are really clever builders, aren't they? Here at the Nature Reserve, they used a special camera to film a bird building its nest inside this nest box. Shall we see how it did it? This bird is called a blue tit, and here it is, building its nest inside the box. Wow, can you see it's bringing in bits of moss, leaves, twigs, even little feathers. These are the building materials for its nest. Look at it flapping around. That was great. Now let's find out what happened just a few weeks later. The blue tit laid lots of eggs inside the nest. And can you spot what's in the corner? That's right, it's a chick. One of the eggs has hatched.
Look how cosy the chick is inside the nest.
It was great to see inside a bird's nest, but to show you how clever birds are at making nests, I'm going to try to build one. And first, we need some building materials.
Can you remember what we need? We can use leaves, twigs, and moss.
I'm going to start by making a frame with some of the twigs and bits of dry grass.
Look, the nest is taking shape. The twigs and grass are woven together in a circle.
Now I'm going to use a bit of mud and wet moss to help everything stick together. A bird would make the inside of the nest round and smooth using its tummy, but I can't do that, so I'm just going to use my hand instead. To finish the nest, I'm going to put some small, soft feathers on the inside.
It's looking great, but a bird's nest needs to be put somewhere safe.
Well, I think I found the perfect spot. A bird's nest should be able to hold some eggs, so I've made 5 out of modelling clay. Let's see if my bird's nest can hold them. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5! There you have it. That is my try at a bird's nest. That was so much fun. That was brilliant. I loved finding out about how a bird's nest works. What did you like most?
Do you remember the name of the type of nest that a small bird might make? That's right, it's a cup nest. Did you hear the sound that the birds were making? And did you see the little chick on the Nature Reserve special camera?
So the next time you see a bird, you'll know how it builds its nest. A bird's nest keeps its eggs and chicks warm and safe while they grow. We have things to keep us safe too, don't we? Can you think of any? We put on sunglasses to protect our eyes from the sun. We wear gloves to protect our hands from the cold. And we wear a helmet on our heads to keep it safe when we ride a bike. But do you know how a bike helmet is made? Let's find out. How is it made?
Helmet.
Bike helmets are made here, in a bike helmet factory. Here, they make bike helmets in lots of different colours. Red ones, grey ones, blue ones. But today, they're making my favourite colour, orange.
Bike helmets are great because they're soft and comfy on the inside, but hard on the outside to protect our heads. But to make a hard bike helmet, you need to start with something that rolls. Carbon fibre. Carbon fibre is made of thousands of tiny strands of a natural material called carbon. But to get a better look at them, I've got one of my special cameras. It's called a microscope camera and lets me see small things much bigger.
Wow, can you see the carbon fibre? Look at how those strands are going over and under each other. It's called a weave. Each of those strands might be tiny, but they're really, really strong. Let me show you how strong. Here, I've got a strand of carbon fibre and a strand of cotton. Cotton is used to make things like cotton shopping bags or my shirt, so it's quite strong. But let's see what happens when I try to break it. That was very easy. So what do you think will happen when I do the same to the strand of carbon fibre? Shall we see? I have no chance of breaking that. That is so strong, and it's only a tiny strand. So imagine how strong it is when you weave lots of strands together. This is perfect for making bike helmets. To do that, we need a mould, and this helmet mould gives the helmet its shape. I think it looks a bit like a mixing bowl, doesn't it? Can you remember the colour of the helmet we're making today? That's right, orange, like this orange. And for that, we're going to need some special orange paint. This is Lewis. He mixes the orange paint before he paints the mould with a paintbrush. Next, he adds something called resin. It works like a glue and helps the carbon fibre go hard. Can you see it takes the shape of the bike helmet mould? Now it just needs a trim. And once the edges have been cut, our helmet shape is left to dry. helmet has been drying in the mould for 4 hours, so it's ready to come out. And Lewis uses a strong blast of air to help lift it out of the mould, like this. Did you hear that? And there it comes. Whoa, that is brilliant. It's like a shiny orange eggshell. It's starting to look more like a bike helmet, isn't it? But there's more. Next stage is drilling. This can get a little bit messy.
Lewis drills holes in the top of the helmet so air can get in to keep our head cool when we wear it. And some holes on the side for the straps.
That was quick, wasn't it? So we've got the hard shell to protect our head, but it's a little bit wobbly, so we need something to hold it in place. Do you know what it is? That's right, we need the straps. First, we have to put these into the holes in the side of the helmet. They're called rivets. The rivets hold the straps into the helmet, and the straps hold the helmet onto our head.
First, Lewis puts part of the rivet and the strap onto this blue press. The helmet goes on top, and then Lewis adds the second part of the rivet. Next, the rivets are pressed together. One strap. Now it's time for the other one. Lewis then fixes an aluminium strip to the edge of the helmet to make the sharp edges smooth.
The helmet needs some special padding on the inside so that it fits and it's comfortable to wear. So that if we had an accident, it would help to protect our head a little bit like a cushion. A quick polish and it's ready to wear. Here you go, a finished bike helmet. I think it looks brilliant and I am off for a bike ride. I loved learning about bike helmets. What did you like most about seeing how a bike helmet is made?
Do you remember the name of the strong material the helmet is made of? That's right, it's called carbon fibre. Can you remember the sound that was made as the helmet shell came out of the mould? And did you see my special camera filming the carbon fibre close up? This is called a weave pattern.
So the next time you go for a ride on your bike, you'll know how a bike helmet is made to keep us safe from any bumps. And if you see a bird flying, it might be on its way to build a nest in a tree. I'll see you next time. Bye.